In this episode of Dialogue with Designers, we're interviewing Dot Lung. Dot Lung has over 100,000 followers on Instagram, and she's an Instagram genius. She's worked with companies like Wix and Facebook to create their social media, and also has a Domestika course online right now that can help you go on and create your online audience. I'll leave the chapters in the description so you can go ahead and watch whatever's important to you. Without further ado, let's jump right into the video. All right, and we're live. Dot Lung, thank you so much for being on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. Really happy to be here with an amazing designer and amazing person. So
Oh, I really appreciate that. Well, obviously me and you know that we met 2 years ago at a meetup or at a conference sort of thing where I was in the audience and you were presenting one of your dragon, I guess, workshops or groups. And that's kind of how I got to know you, right? And I've been following you through the years before that. For those in the audience right now listening who don't actually know what it is that you do or who you are, talk a little bit about yourself. How would you describe who you are, what it is that you do, and yeah, just a little bit about yourself.
yeah, well, hello to all of your amazing listeners. You guys are in very good hands with your fearless leader. My name is Dot Lung. Dot is short for Dorothy, and Long means dragon in Mandarin. And I call myself the mother of social dragons. I've created a formula for exponential social media growth, and I teach students all around the world how to build a presence and grow their social media for business growth. I think we have over 100,000 students worldwide through my Domestika course. And yeah, I travel the world speaking at different conferences and giving different workshops. I'm in over 30 different countries now. And wow. On the side, my side hustle is consulting and building social media strategies out for companies like Facebook, Wix, and Mixtiles.
Wow. So that's funny how you started out, your main thing, I guess, was social media marketing and kind of growing Instagrams and just social media in general for companies. And then you started teaching, and that kind of overtook your main thing, and now it's your hobby, right? How did that kind of come to life? How did that Domestika course kind of expand your business like that?
Well, it allowed me to take on less clients and only take on important work that, really brought me value, that made me excited. And I'm able to make a really great living doing what I love, which is teaching and being with people. And I still do grow social media accounts. I still personally, work with my clients on content strategy and community engagement and growth and finding the best tactics for that. So yeah, I do a little bit of both. I love Instagram. I love social media. I'm really fascinated by the psychology behind human behavior and why we, do certain things or behave a certain way or try to pretend like, something that we're not online. And so this just, it brings me so much joy to like dissect the science and why, the difference between a successful brand online and one that is succeeding and ones that aren't, and just really breaking it down to like a science.
So you usually do social media for big companies or agencies or like Facebook and Wix, like you said.
It wasn't always like that. I mean, right. I've been in the business for over 10 years now. Let's see, it's 2021. I moved to Barcelona in 2011. Yeah, so it's been 10 years. I moved to Spain and I was trying to make ends meet. I was trying to do graphic design, I don't know, Photoshop stuff, like whatever I could do to make money. And then I realized, people are going to pay me to do Instagram for them. So I thought it was a freaking joke, right? Because I was like, what? I just need to like think of stuff, create content and post it. Like, this is like the best job ever. And so that's actually, excuse me 1 second. I have to stop my alarm because it was actually my alarm for this podcast.
Okay, yeah, no worries, yeah.
Yeah, so I just, I didn't know that social media manager was a real job title. And I worked with small companies, but slowly but surely I built my reputation, and here I am, like, a consultant to big global corporations, businesses, startups, all around the world. So it's been a really incredible journey. I didn't really expect this, but it's really fun. So
Well, like you were saying in the beginning, how you just started out doing it for people who would pay you, right? And you kind of had to find your way around that. If someone were to come to you right now and had kind of the same idea of, I just need to grow my Instagram page, right? And if that person was, say, someone like a designer, right? How important is it for people in the creative industry to have a social media presence and to have, I guess, Instagram that's really explosive, and Twitter, Facebook, whatever it is, right?
it has never been more important than
Hmm.
now to seriously build your personal brand. I've been saying it for 10 years. I've been doing it. I've been
Yeah.
doing it for like, I don't know, 15 years. Like,
Hmm.
and the only reason, I literally think the only reason why I've been, had the success that I've had to grow my business and, travel the world and really work remotely from wherever I want is
Hmm.
because I had been building a personal brand. So I think especially if you are, a designer, or if you're creative and you do your work online and you are the front man of your business, meaning you do the sales, you do the marketing, you do the accounting, which is,
Hmm.
like me, I'm a one woman show. You need to have a personal brand, because if you don't have one, you're non-existent.
Right, right. So how does that kind of transpire, I guess, when you have no posts and you're kind of looking at this blank screen and you have no idea what to post because there's so much inspiration out there and everybody's Instagram is different, right? How do you know what to post, and what should your first post be, I guess?
If it's your very first post, I would start with an introduction, right? Something
Hmm.
about who you are, what you stand for, what's your mission, what do you, what's your goals, what are your dreams? Share who you are as a person. People want to know who they're getting in business
Hmm.
with. So,
Yeah.
and just something to remember, like, especially for those of you building your website portfolio, and like, you have to put something in the about you section. That page is
Hmm.
so important. Like, it's the most important page on your whole website, the most visited page on your website. And you should really work on what your bio says, because your
Hmm.
about you section is not about you. It should be about your ideal client and how you can actually help them, and what makes you the go-to expert, and why should they trust you, right? So
Hmm.
this is going to, I mean, it's really an art form, the about you page, and that should probably be your first post is, what is the transformation that you can help me as your client go from A to B, and what makes you different from
Hmm.
everybody else?
Well, that kind of goes on to our next two-part question here, which is, how do you separate yourself from everyone else when there's so much great talent out there, and everybody, it seems like everybody's worked for Google and everybody has amazing projects and everybody, how do you separate yourself? How do you make yourself just stand out?
Well, good thing that there is only one you, right? This is something I had so
Yeah.
much trouble with, because I think a lot, especially as, you know, when you're starting out, you're looking at all of the people, 10 steps ahead of you, and you want to, get the clients that they're working with and be like them and post stuff like
Hmm.
them. And at the end of the day, you're just ending up like copying what they're doing, and it's not helping you in any way. So I think it's really important to truly look deep inside you and know exactly who you are, have extreme clarity on, what you want to, what, what your mission is and what your
Hmm.
goals are, and really lean into your identity. And what I mean by that, the identity piece was something that was very hard for me to do personally, because it took me 10 years to, like, literally 10 years to put my face out there, like on
Hmm.
social media, because I was so
That's
insecure. Like,
funny.
people were going to see
Yeah.
what I look like. Oh my God, I'm Asian and I have small eyes. And oh my God, they're going to find out, like,
Hmm.
that whatever they're gonna, and what I realized is the moment that I actually leaned into like my Asianness is when I
Hmm.
stood out from every other, social media consultant and professional out there. Because you have to actually utilize what's unique about you. And sometimes that is what you're insecure about.
Right.
So I was always insecure of my last name, Long, for many reasons. And one of them being, it's actually my biological father's last name. And I was raised by a single mother. So I didn't have a relationship with my father growing up. I didn't like the fact that I carried his last name, but I am his daughter. And so it took me, through my personal branding process, it was really, almost therapeutic. And I had like a breakthrough. Well, I need to own up to what my identity is. And my last name is part of my identity. It shows the lineage, the family I came from. And so that, I built that into the whole Mother of Social Dragons identity, which also happens to be, what I teach. I teach you how to become a dragon, how to, use these 6 elements of the dragon to really grow your social media. And this eventually became my identity. And that sets me apart from everyone else that isn't a dragon, because there is no other social media dragon, right? So if you're a designer, if you're, an artist or a coach, you really have to figure out what are the key unique elements that make you uniquely who you are. And sometimes you have to ask the hard questions. There is a 4-step process to really find out I would say, who you are is your niche, right? So a lot of times as designers or as creative service people, we're always talking about niching down and finding your niche. Your niche is actually you, right? So there's no one else that can do what you do in the way that you do it. If you can, market it in a
right, yeah, market yourself.
Exactly. And so there's the Japanese philosophy of ikigai, which is your life's purpose. And this combines those 4 questions. I know it's gotten really viral on YouTube, recently.
Chris Do, right?
Yeah.
the 4 circles.
So that's actually a way that you can not only find out your life's purpose, but really know what your niche is. So what are you passionate about? What are you truly passionate about that you would probably keep on doing without getting paid? What are you actually good at doing? Right. And then what can you actually get paid doing? And what are the problems that actually need to be solved in the world? So when you find, when you do that Venn diagram or whatever diagram is called, that point is who you are, how you can actually serve to your fullest. So that is how you're going to stand out within your niche. So you have to work hard on looking inside and figuring out really what you're passionate about. In the end, that's how I would start, is to start with why, but why are you so passionate about X, Y, or Z?
Right. So I guess that kind of is as it is your Domestika course, right? Or what you teach. It's the dragon formula, right? Let's talk about that a little bit. What are the 6 main characteristics of being a dragon, and how can you create your profile or your Instagram page with this formula?
Sure. The dragon's methodology is really based upon 6 elements that, when combined, create a timeless and everlasting social media content strategy. So it can be used on any platform. I specifically love it for Instagram because that's my favorite social media network. But these elements can be used on LinkedIn, on Twitter, on Facebook, any of your favorite social media channels. And it all starts with dialogue. The D in dragon represents dialogue, because the whole reason why social media was invented is so that humans can connect with dialogue. So if you can master the art of conversation, you're already ahead of the game. and you're going to be able to have many conversations that are going to either be in the comments or conversations you're having with your audience. And this is really going to bring your profile into the feed more often, because you're able to have a direct and meaningful conversation. So the more meaningful conversations you're able to create, the more visibility you're going to get. And it's as simple as that. Marketers call this conversation marketing. More conversations directly lead to more sales generation. And that's,
right.
in terms of, that's in terms of why dialogue is so important. Well, if you're interested to grow your business, then you better be having a lot of different dialogues and conversations. Targeted, of course, not just throwing out blanks, which is what I see people making this mistake all the time, is like randomly leaving comments on, other people's profiles that have nothing to do with your niche or your business. So you're just wasting your 2 cents there.
That's the Gary Vee, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, yeah.
The second element of the dragon is all about relatability. This is, how can you actually create super viral content, right? And people always want to know, well, how do I get my content seen? How can it be more relevant? Well, to actually score well for relevancy on the algorithm, you need your content to be relatable. And relatability is all about getting your user to feel something, to feel like, oh my God, me too. I can totally relate to this.
Yeah.
And the way that we can master making relatable content is using storytelling. So I would recommend, doing a masterclass with my friend Sun Yi. He has a Domestica class coming out all about storytelling and how to tell stories specifically for your personal brand. So he's created done storytelling for digital products for all of the biggest personal brands out there. And so it's somebody that I would trust to learn from. And that's how you create relatable content, is through story. So if you can master storytelling, you will master the art of being a relatable, personable character. And the more that you can relate to people, the more people want to be your friend and work with you. And they feel closer to you. You're going to build that affinity. So relatability is a really important factor in content creation, because the more relatable, the more viral. The third element in the dragon is all about authenticity. And authenticity is truly allowing yourself to be you, essentially, right? There's no, like I was saying earlier, there's no one else that knows how to be you better than you. And a lot of the times when we're on social media, we're trying to pretend to be something we're not. And if you're going to fake it till you make it, you're going to get fake followers. And that's how you build a wrong type of audience. You're not going to be attracting true, authentic fans. So this is why being authentic is really important. The G in the dragon is all about giving, and giving is the backbone of the entire strategy here.
Right.
It's, you have to give generously with no expectations. Gary Vaynerchuk says, give, right hook. In the Dragon's formula, it's
lead
just
with
give,
value, right?
give. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's just all about giving. How can you make somebody's life better? Why the heck are you even making all of this content if it doesn't help anybody? Is this just all about like your own ego, and you're just posting influencer content of like how sexy you look like in front of the beach or something? Like, I don't see how that serves anyone. But if you're going to teach something, like, in your sexy bikini, that's valuable content. That's somebody that I don't mind learning, from somebody that's amazing, looks great as an influencer and can also teach me something, and that's valuable and doesn't waste my time. That's tactical. So figure out how you're going to give, and giving in all aspects. Like, how can you give them free resources? How can you give them, more help through your content? figure out all the different ways that you can give them free stuff. Maybe even a free call, book a free, session discovery call for 15 minutes. That might be your lead magnet, or maybe it's a free ebook. Maybe it's a free, course.
Right. Anything that gets them in. Yeah.
So that's all about giving, right? You have to give before you can ask to receive. So if you lead, you have to lead with value, because nobody wants to be friends with that person that's trying to sell them stuff all the time, right? Too much sales content, too much in your face. I block and I remove those Instagram users
everyone,
right away.
Of course, yeah.
Everyone. So
everyone does.
It's all about just giving, and then see if that leads to a sale. So that's the G. The O in the dragon is about sharing your opinion. This is taking a stand for your brand, right?
Okay.
So it's something that if you can use this strategically, it can bring a lot of engagement from an audience that might disagree or agree with you. But that's something that makes you stand out. When you are brave enough to share your true beliefs, values, this is when you're going to actually attract your strongest and most gung-ho true fans. Right. So don't be afraid to share what you really believe. One of my strong beliefs currently is like, Canva is the worst design tool ever. And it needs to just disappear and go away, even though they're evaluated at like, I don't know how many bajillion dollars right now. And I think it like democratized like design. And I think, anyways, I'm just anti Canva, and I hate that it's like literally the tool for people in my industry, like for social media people, but that's a whole nother topic. But you have to like stand by
let's get into it. Let's definitely get into it.
Like stand by your beliefs, and this is how you build a tribe. So you build tribe by sharing your values and beliefs. And this is how you attract the right people into your community. And lastly, the N in the dragon is all about niche, is like niching down to blow up. If you're not able to serve your, direct community, it's going to be really hard to really scale up and serve everyone if you can't, serve a really specific audience. But the N is, a whole chapter in the course. It's one of the most important things to start out with, is to know who your audience is and speak directly to them, because, if you speak to everyone, you're speaking to no one. So.
Yeah. Wow. Well, that's definitely a lot to take in. I'd say even if it's only 6 steps, there's a lot to remember always. And something I've always wondered when looking at your profile, and I know what you do, of course, right? How do you kind of guarantee results to big businesses and even to Facebook or whatever it is? Maybe Facebook's not the best example here because they already have an audience, but if someone comes to you and they say, okay, we have like 100 followers and we need 100,000 by the end of the year, how can you guarantee someone that result? What is the one tip you would guarantee them?
Well, first of all, I don't guarantee that result, because that's never should be the goal ever. Or that as a professional, I would never put that, as the number one KPI. Like that should be like follower growth should be a result of building an amazing content strategy and community. So clients that are just only after follower growth, you have to educate them that this is actually not the right KPI. It is an important KPI, but this is actually really easily, if you want this KPI, we can simply not necessarily buy followers, but technically when you buy Facebook ads, you buy followers, right?
Right. Yeah.
Like we can, guarantee a certain X amount of growth with this X amount in investment. How much do you have in investment? And I can, possibly reach, not possibly, I can guarantee from this amount to this amount of growth with X amount of investment. So technically, the more they are willing to invest in creating and investing in their ads, the more growth they will experience.
Right.
It's a numbers game. Usually, especially when I first started, there is no freaking ad budget, right? So let's say when I started, there was no such thing as paid media. So you couldn't really guarantee growth. You can guarantee growth now because you can simply pay for it with Facebook ads. But what I think what I did in the past to, I think it's more about alleviating the potential risk for the client. Like the reason why they might want a guarantee like that is because they want to be able to trust you, to know that you can deliver the results. So,
right.
So I don't know if I answered your question.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, we're slowly running out of time here. I'm gonna end with one last question that I like to kind of ask everyone here is, if there was one key takeaway from this podcast that we just did here, and you wanted to tell my audience one specific thing, what would it be?
So many great questions. You're an excellent interviewer.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Well, I guess
really makes you think.
let me, because my message has evolved, throughout the years. But one thing that came up to my mind now is really about following your passion. Okay, it sounds so trite, and it sounds, like everyone says, like, oh, follow your passion, follow your passion. I think if you are trying to if you want to be an entrepreneur, it's something that you have to truly be passionate about, because it's a long journey, right? It's a never ending journey. You have to constantly reinvent yourself, reinvent your products. It's really up and down, and you have to enjoy that process. And what's more enjoyable than building and working on something you're truly passionate about? So that's what's kept me going.
Right.
I'm truly, love what I do. And I only was able to get there because I followed my passion. It wasn't like that when I first started, not when I first started, but in the way that at least I was educated, is, you have to follow the traditional route. You do go to the college, get the corporate job, and that leaves you with a very unpassionate life and doing things you're unpassionate about. So if I had to give one message, is to follow your passion and leave the traditional path behind if you follow your passion.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it definitely works for you, right? I mean, you're teaching so many people how to grow their business and how to scale, so it's definitely really worked out.
Well, I hope I guess it's working so far. We don't anything can happen, right? I just I think what I mean is, like, passion is your gasoline to keep moving forward. And in this, journey, you have to keep moving forward. So passion has been the gas to take the next steps.
Absolutely. Well, Dot, thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I really, really appreciate it. And this was great. Hopefully the audience learned something here. I know I did. And yeah, just thank you so much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and have a great day, everyone.
Thank you so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, go ahead and subscribe and like, and leave a comment down for .lung. And if you made it to the end of the video, I also want to mention that the podcast is now live on Spotify, so you can listen to it when you're on a drive or wherever it is that you are. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.